Having too low a continuous calorie intake is a detriment to health and fat loss optimally, especially when a lot of us might believe that if we just eat as little calories as we can each and every day, then it's going to be our best route to fat loss. And in essence, it's far from it, and I really want to drill this into your head. Your body requires a certain amount of energy to maintain itself as it stands, to regulate hormones and to maintain your frame. If you surpass this limit in calories, then you will gain body fat. If you eat calories just underneath this zone, that's where sensible, logical and realistic fat loss into the future will occur. The problem is when people think they'll just try and eat as little calories as possible, that will give them a better chance of losing fat, whereas it's a very bad place to go, and I'm going to explain why. There's a lot of detriments to too few calories continuously. I use the word too few because it's a lot different to optimal fat loss calories. Too few calories is a big detriment, especially to women, but in both genders we are heavily affected in a lot of different ways. The first point is our body would adjust by subconsciously moving a lot less, preserving our energy. We'd notice that we don't fidget as much, we might not even blink as much. All of the collective ways that we move our body would just reduce. We'd preserve as much energy as we can by barely moving the body. But in contrast, if you were to eat what I deem the more sensible calorie intake, your fat loss calorie amount, all the energy that you've consumed would lead to a lot better and optimal energy expenditure in your workouts and in your daily activity. Fat loss and body shape improvement is always going to be more optimal when you allow yourself enough energy so that you can expend energy better in your workouts and your activities. You have to provide your body with a suitable calorie intake, i.e. fat loss calories, in order for your body just to maintain regular functions, hormonal functions, brain functioning, kidney functioning, digestion. When we eat food, our body requires some energy for our food to actually digest, more prevalent in protein. That's why I say protein is quite a calorie effective macronutrient. And calories will also regulate our nervous system. And trust me, you need that to be working well when you're working out. Now, a low calorie intake continuously is definitely going to affect the two reproductive hormones in both males and females, testosterone and estrogen, and these have big effects on our bone health, so you have to ensure that your bones aren't compromised when you're reducing calorie intake, because hormones affect bones. Now, the following advice is just for women, but fertility and menstrual cycles can be heavily affected if consuming too few calories for what your body needs. The last thing that you want is for your reproductive systems and functions to be suppressed when having too few calories, because that's not the right way to any optimal health or fat loss. That never needs to happen, and it's just a detriment to your health. It's really a sign to consider what you're doing cost benefit wise if you do experience any of these issues, and it's just not the right way in my eyes to go about improving your health. So it's just important to get up to the right amount of calories where you can still lose fat. It just doesn't have to be drastic calorie reductions. And now the last point about calorie restrictions is that your immune system defences could be affected if you're having too few calories, especially when you're pairing that with strenuous exercise. Your immune system defences could be absolutely wrecked. Increased risk of disease and infection is obviously more prevalent when the immune system is compromised via too few calories being intaken. There's a UFC fighter called Cody Garbrandt, and he was suffering with a kidney infection. Once he was sort of clearing the kidney infection, he was doing strenuous exercise and trying to cut weight, so calories were low. He then contracted COVID, so it was a really bad time for his immune system to be contracting COVID. Basically suffered for about 7 months, and fatigue, other symptoms were just quite a detriment to his health in this time period, because his immune system was quite compromised with low calories, recovering from a kidney infection, and then contracting COVID. Not ideal. So it really does pay to not consume too few calories. Make sure you're having a very sensible amount. How to ensure you're consuming a sensible zone of calories daily as opposed to too few calories, because you really want to make sure you know the difference, right? I'll provide a link below where you can calculate your daily calories for fat loss. If you follow the steps on this blog that I've written up, you'll definitely be in the right frame of calories, and you'll know that too few calories is going to compromise that. So there's the detriments to having too few a calorie intake as opposed to what your body should be having. The optimal way of losing fat and improving body shape is always going to be a continuous lifestyle of practicing controlled calorie intake with just energy expenditure, finding activities that you love and practicing that throughout life to increase your energy expenditure and just stay healthy and robust as you get into older age. That's the detriments of too few calories.